We gotta talk about these new game trailers. Are even more Xbox games coming to the Switch? Buy an Xbox now before they raise the price. Has Game Pass reached its limit? Let's discuss. If you want to get your holiday shopping done early this season, check out the links down in my description because I have links to all sorts of stuff. Games, consoles, accessories, you name it. What is up, guys, and welcome to another Halloween edition of Xbox Ready. As per usual for these weekend videos, I have gathered up a number of stories to share with you to make sure that you are Xbox ready. And here to discuss with me is Jimmy Champagne, back again in the flesh with his killer costume. Dude at a Michigan frat party, it seems.
I thought my costume was normal, not insane person.
You're looking pretty crazy to me. Crazy.
I like your costume. I didn't know what it was from, but now I know it's from Naruto.
Yeah, it's from the ninja organization, the Akatsuki. So the past couple of days has been actually really great for Xbox news. It started out pretty slow. I was kind of like, okay, what's going on? And then Phil Spencer made this appearance at Wall Street Journal Live Tech. Gave us just like a gold mine of stuff to talk about. But we also got some pretty cool game trailers as well. Redfall got a new trailer.
I watched
Did you see that?
Looked pretty cool. The vampires are looking good. I want that game to come out, and I want to know how much of a live service it is. Like if it's going to be something I can play after I beat it, or if it's going to be like a one and done scenario, because I would love a live service vampire slaying game.
From the look of it, it looks like kind of a single player campaign. And what do you think? Do you think there'll be like raids or something?
I don't know. It seems like there's going to be missions that you can do co-op or single player. And then I would guess they'll have a repeatable style thing. Call of Duty's getting raids though. I'm pretty excited about that. Did you hear about this?
I did hear about that.
3-person raids. I heard one's going to take place on a submarine. One's going to have like a numbers puzzle. It seems really cool. So yeah, all these multiplayer games I'm into where it's like PvE instead of PvP.
PvE with a couple, you could play solo, which was one of my biggest asks. I didn't want just like a Back 4 Blood situation where I had to play either with computers or with other people.
That game really fell off, huh?
The game really fell off. So I was looking for an option to play Redfall either single player or with some friends, of course. And yeah, mission replayability, right? What a great thing at launch to kind of have, hopefully, unlike Halo Infinite, which is getting that in the winter update. Trailer looked really cool. The enemy abilities looked really crazy, like the vampire sucking the soul out of you. That was a really great moment.
I just hope it runs better than Deathloop did at launch, because that game was very technically not great. I think it's fine now a year later, but yeah, that game was kind of a mess. I'm hoping with Redfall they iron out some of the kinks. I don't know why they're not using like id Tech or something like that.
Yeah, their stuff is like really well optimized, right?
Yeah.
Like literally anything they do. Hopefully the delay gave them enough time. But I feel like there's a missed opportunity because it's such a great Halloween game from the looks of it.
Well, it's supposed to be out
vampires.
Was it supposed to be out in summer this year?
Summer this year.
Which is still, they did this with a couple Halloween movies where like a few of them came out in like July and August. I don't know. So yeah, like weird decisions making. But yeah, Redfall looks really cool. I want to know what the loot element is. Like if it's just going to be like Borderlands where you get a 5 million randomized guns that it's like a total crapshoot on if it's usable or not, or if it's going to be like Destiny where you get some like base stat rolls and then you get a few different perks that can be cycled in and out.
This new trailer seemed to be more focused on the world and also the enemies. We didn't see a lot more stuff in terms of each class's abilities like we did in that first trailer with the crazy shot of the telephone booth like launching the other person in the air.
Yeah, that was
like
cool.
All those abilities.
I like that it's instanced too, so it's going to have its own little districts and everything like that, not just be like one huge open world, because as we're seeing with freaking Gotham Knights, if you have an open world that you can share between multiple players, you're pretty much just locked at 30 FPS, which I dislike, especially in a first-person shooter. That game better run at 60.
Gonna come like launch time and people are gonna be like, oh, the Series S is holding Redfall back, it's only 30 FPS on consoles. No, I'm positive they've seen all the negative press surrounding Gotham Knights and Plague Tale and have been like, okay, we gotta do whatever we can to get these games, Starfield and Redfall, to at least 60. And we also got some really excited news if you're a big fan of RTS games. They just announced with this trailer that they're bringing back Age of Mythology. Retold is going to be the new one. Did you ever play the Age of Mythology games?
No, I'm not an RTS guy.
I was like obsessed with Age of Mythology 1 and 2. The twist is I never owned it because I wasn't allowed to download computer games on my family computer. Because my dad is convinced that me playing Diablo 2 on the computer ruined it entirely. I mean,
it probably did.
It probably did. But my friend had Age of Mythology 1 and 2, and I'd be over at his house all the time. We play it together. We play it online. The second one had online capability. In my heart, yeah, sure, I'd wanted to see a new Age of Mythology game, but I thought we were way past that. So to see that they were reviving that was awesome. Xbox Game Studios in conjunction with World's End.
Are you gonna play with keyboard and mouse on your Xbox Series X?
That's the thing, because the day that they released that trailer, they also announced that Age of Empires 2 and 4 were coming to Xbox consoles. Finally, I thought that was really cool. I feel like a lot of people are going to be really happy about that, and I think more RTS games on console is a good thing. But how they're going to remap that functionality of the keyboard and mouse to the gamepad, your controller, I'll be interested to see how that works out. They've kind of figured it out for other games like Halo Wars and stuff, but they're working on it. So probably not till for a little bit. My only ask is that, you know, now that they're bringing Age of Empires to consoles, it would be really cool to see whenever they launch Age of Mythology Retold, if, you know, they launch it for PC and same day launch it for Xbox consoles.
Yeah.
They got to get on the same page with these releases. I feel like. Speaking of the Xbox ecosystem may or may not be getting more expensive, Jimmy. Have you heard about this? Have you read about this?
What? Yeah, no, it makes sense, right? Like what we heard at this Phil Spencer interview is that maybe in the future, most likely in the future, not only are games going to increase to $70, but the Series X might get a little bit of a price increase.
Yeah, they said hardware and software services may see a price increase.
Sony would never.
Yeah. Is that right? Well. I have some people on Twitter that would really be angry at that.
Wait, are you telling me that Sony not only increased their game prices to $70, but at the same time as they came out with a new PS5 that's cheaper to make and runs more efficiently, they also raised the price of the console in every territory except the United States?
Whoa.
That would be crazy.
My viewers are going to be really pleased with that. They're going to be, whoa, Jimmy
Why
from
would they
PS
do that?
Ready said that it's PlayStation's fault. I mean, I don't know. I mean, we kind of knew that this was inevitable, honestly, because 2 years ago, obviously, we started to see $70 games, and Xbox kind of held fast with their, no, we're going to stay $60.
Because they were releasing games like Halo Infinite on Xbox One still. And they're like, these games are like slightly upgraded Xbox One games. And I'm like, that's fair. And Sony was like, these are slightly upgraded PS4 games, but you're going to pay $10 more for them.
Yeah, you're going to do it. And people did, of course. But the full quote is, I do think at some point we'll have to raise the price on certain things. But going into this holiday, we thought it was important to maintain the price. We've held price on our console, we've held price on games, and our subscription. I don't think we'll be able to do that forever. I do think at some point we'll have to raise some prices on certain things. So going into the holiday season, when everyone wants to maybe pick up a console, pick up games, subscribe to Game Pass, you should be safe. But if we were to take an educated guess, I'm sure the first party, the games, they're going to go up to 70. I think that's the first thing.
Yeah. Great way for them. I'm not saying it's good. I'm just saying I get the logic that they would want to increase the price of games to make Game Pass more enticing, where they're like, well, you don't want to pay $70 for Halo Infinite, which is not getting content anymore for some reason. You can just subscribe to Game Pass and play the entire game for free.
At the end of the day, it's like, well, it's only a $10 difference, but that $10 can add up if you are buying a lot of new games, especially over the course of a year.
I don't know.
It's not the end of the world. It does kind of suck, but you know.
The dollars to time ratio is still really good. And when we were kids, games were $50, which is like 20 years ago at this point, and they've only gone up now $10 since then. I like see why there needs to be a price increase. I would just hope that that price increase results in less microtransactions in games that are full price, because I hate that. I hate paying $70 for a game and then every cool costume for the character in the game is like $20 extra on the store. I'm fine with it in Fortnite because it's free to play, but like I don't want to be paying for, you know, skins in Gotham Knights, which to be fair to Gotham Knights, all the costumes are in the game, kind of like Spider-Man.
In terms of hardware, what do you think? I mean, you think they'll raise the Series X to $550 like the PS5 has done in the other? Yeah, $50 increase. Game Pass price increase. I mean, I think honestly, I feel like that'd be the last thing they raise the price of.
If they raise the price, it doesn't really affect me all that much.
Yeah,
I would say, just because I don't stream games. 10%.
You do get a discount on games that you buy on Game Pass on their catalogs. It's kind of this weird situation where you are still kind of getting like a $65 game rather than $70 if they choose in the near future to raise the price from $60 to $70 on their games. So the hot button topic for this whole Activision Blizzard acquisition is Call of Duty. And at this point, I'm like sick of talking about Call of Duty.
Nah, man, I just unlocked my new personality, Ghost from MW2. The guy's awesome. I'm all in on Call of Duty. I want to know if I'm going to play it on PlayStation going forward. I need more Ghost.
rather play it on PlayStation. And for anyone who owns a Switch, if they go through with this acquisition, you might be playing it on your Switch as well, because Phil Spencer is interested in seeing Call of Duty as a franchise, not only on PlayStation, but on the Nintendo Switch as well.
Hopefully it does not have crossplay. Can you imagine you like go to the store and you buy Modern Warfare 2 on Switch, and then it throws you in a lobby with someone playing at 120 FPS on PC with like pinpoint accuracy on their keyboard and mouse?
Why would they go through the trouble of releasing it on that platform?
God. Yeah, if
and
they
not have it
it,
mingle it with the other?
Yeah, if they're still releasing it on Xbox One and PS4, that's the lobby, right? You do Xbox One, PS4, Switch. Then you have a lobby that's like keyboard and mouse console players and PC players, and then controller players. You got to do it that way, because like, yeah, if you drop someone on even on PC at 60 FPS with a keyboard and mouse into a Switch lobby, you would never be alive. You would just spend the entire game dead.
Yeah,
you could be like the best Call of Duty player and you just get destroyed. I think Call of Duty could run on the Switch. I really do, just because.
You think so?
It's so optimized. I've been playing Call of Duty pretty regularly since the Modern Warfare 2019 reboot, and I had a pretty underpowered PC at that time, and I was shocked. I could play at max settings, 4K, and get a 60 FPS pretty much locked. And playing the beta for Modern Warfare 2, I have a good PC now, but I could play it at a locked 120 at 4K with all of it maxed out with DLSS on. Dang. So knowing that, I could see the Switch getting a pretty hard locked 30 FPS. There's a lot of settings in Call of Duty that you can really tweak down.
That's interesting, because at first I was like, well, I don't know, like, would this be like a streaming thing, like with what we saw at the Resident Evil showcase that Sony just did, where they were like, now you can stream Resident Evil on your Switch and blah, 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 and it'll be blah, blah, blah. So I was like, I don't know if they do something similar, but hearing you talk through it and some other people talk through it, I'm like, it makes sense that it could be achieved natively. Phil Spencer essentially said that he wants, if this acquisition goes through, he wants to treat the Call of Duty franchise like they treat Minecraft. The full quote is, Call of Duty specifically will be available on PlayStation. I'd love to see it on the Switch. I'd love to see the game playable on many different screens. Our intent is to treat Call of Duty like Minecraft. He goes on to say that the opportunity, this acquisition, is really about mobile for us. When you think about 3 billion people playing video games, there's only about 200 million households on console. This acquisition goes through, Call of Duty coming to even more places.
Dude, handheld Warzone, oh my god.
Next up, we're going to talk about Game Pass. Like I always say, it's not an Xbox-ready video unless we talk about Game Pass in some way. We learned some interesting things about Game Pass, not only from this interview, but from some other reports. According to this article from Axios, apparently Game Pass missed its target growth percentage for the second time in a row. So 2021, end of 2022. But also, Phil Spencer came out and confirmed that Game Pass is profitable. He said that it makes up about 10 to 15% of the company's software and services revenue, which is profitable for the company. How profitable? I don't know, because they don't release the numbers. And we got a little bit of insight as to why growth might be slowing down. And he points to console growth. Game Pass subscribers on console are kind of slowing down, is the headline here, is the kind of what he was insinuating. Mostly because not a lot of Xbox consoles out there, you know, even if you combine what they sold last year, which was like, not even 50 million, and then combine it with this year, which is almost to 20 million, not even, maybe like 18, 19 million at this point.
And it's still kind of expensive, right? Like $15 a month. I think that's just a little bit out of people's price range right now, especially when there's not a lot of first-party games that people are willing to play on Xbox, right? Like,
yeah, Bethesda delays of Starfield and Redfall. Is that going to affect Game Pass in a significant way? And that might be a factor in this. I'm not sure. Like I said, I don't know the numbers. It's like
I'm not a business analyst. Comes out, you know, like you get a huge jump in subscribers on Netflix, and while a lot of them probably cancel their accounts within a month, there's probably half or maybe even a quarter of the people who just forget and stick around, or say, hey, I haven't watched a ton of stuff on Netflix, I've got all this like options now, I'm just going to keep paying for it. You know, they said that they want a new game every quarter, right? That makes sense, because that's where you're going to get the spikes, and then you're going to have the fall off, obviously, but you're going to keep a few more people each time you get a spike like that.
Yeah, you know, I think personally that they've done enough, maybe not to grow the service by a huge amount, but to stay above water, still continue to make money, because we also heard that they generated 2.9 billion in revenue not too long ago.
Yeah.
So I think they did pretty well, considering that they don't have those major first party hitters that we were excited for. He did mention something else that's interesting in this appearance. He said that the PC Game Pass growth has been quote unquote incredible. And when you start to think about it, and we start to talk about it off camera, that makes sense. There are just so many more gaming PCs out there that could potentially subscribe to PC Game Pass. And we've talked about this before, but it seems to be that Xbox's eyes, they're trying to get a little crafty on how they can get people to subscribe to Game Pass.
They should start buying exclusive PC games like Epic does. I would love to play Evil Dead on the Xbox app 1,000 times more than the Epic Game Store.
They have a chokehold on their titles. They want as many people to use their store as possible. Cloud gaming, that's a whole other avenue they can try to grow Game Pass as well. And as streaming continues to grow, I know you hate cloud gaming. I know that.
Well, yeah, I think it's going to be a supplement for them. Just from everything that was said yesterday at this interview, they're not even talking about cloud streaming. It's a supplementary feature that makes this thing worth picking up. And I'm like, yeah, that's exactly what I want to hear. I don't want to hear you guys talking about how this is the future of gaming, because it's not.
It could be.